Serious people of Reddit, what is the creepiest thing that happened to you while home alone? This happened to my mom. She grew up in Wichita, Kansas while the BTK serial killer was active. The house of one of his first victims was down her block. But one day she was home with her brother, she was upstairs in her room and he was downstairs. Apparently he heard a noise in the backyard moments before the power cut out. This was one of the key things that BTK did before entering the home. She just knew the power went out, then heard her brother scream and yelled for her to run away. She hopped out her window and sprinted barefoot to a Pizza Hut a couple blocks away. She called the police who went to the house but didn't find anything and everything turned out fine. I got a phone call asking how my TV was holding up. I thought it was just the company we bought it from checking up on it and doing their normal customer support stuff until I was told exactly what channel I was watching. I asked who it was on the phone and they said, "Don't worry, I can see you but you can't see me." I was 9 at the time and my parents were out of town for work, so my older sister, 17 at the time, got us all to hide in my parents' closet with the guns and we called the police. When they arrived they called us to let us know it was them knocking on the door. They found footprints but no person. We installed security cameras not soon after and never had a problem again, but it still creeps me out to this day. Home alone when I was 10 or 12, somewhere in between there. My parents' house is located in the suburbs surrounded by woods and the golf course. It was a stormy night and my parents went out for dinner. I was watching TV in the living room with my dog on my lap when all of a sudden she jumps up and sprints to the front door barking. She never barks, my dad trained her since she had a very loud annoying bark. I walk over and turn on the outside light to see nobody. As soon as I did this, she sprinted to the back living room by the pool with sliding glass doors and starts barking over there like someone was inside the screened pool area. I run over and turn the pool lights on, empty. I started to get kinda freaked out. She then ran to the garage door barking like she was going to rip someone's face off. I grab a knife from the kitchen and open the garage door to hear the rain and see the main garage door wide open. I immediately shut the garage door and slammed the inside door behind me, grabbed my dog and ran into my room, locking the door and going into the closet. I waited in there what felt like 3 hours for my parents to get home. I told them everything and my dad went outside to find what looked like new muddy footprints around the garage and pool area. Nothing else ever came about from it, but man, I got the chills typing that out. Freaky experience. I used to stay home alone a lot because both parents worked and always wanted a dog to keep me company / be my alarm. Never happened of course because my mom didn't want a dog. Well, one day I was babysitting my stepsister's little old Westie and we were home alone. She freaked out and started growling and barking. I noticed there's a car in front of our house. Then she ran to the garage door and was growling there. Turned out one of my mom's friends thought it'd be a good idea to come into the garage to drop something off but got scared off by the dog. Who the thinks it's a good idea to just walk into someone's house like that? I'm so glad that dog was with me. I kept everything locked all the time since then and pretended I wasn't home. This is years later and we have dogs now. It's incredibly nice to have a dog alarm system. Once BF and I move out on our own again, I'm getting a nice big monster dog. Our little one will bark and growl like mad, but the bigger one is on the quiet side and not very confrontational. Saturday morning, 1970s. Dad is at work and my mom and sister went shopping for groceries. I was in the bath when the house was broken into. I froze, trying not to make a sound as I heard someone creeping through the house. Then heard them try to open the bathroom door just as the doorbell rang. It was Mom, hoping I'd open the front door because her arms were overloaded with grocery bags. She saw a shadow through the stained glass beside the front door go downstairs. I think that was the one time I'd never been happier to see my mum. I was 9. So what happened next? Did they catch the intruder? Later that evening, my father noticed something amiss downstairs. His storeroom in the basement had been ransacked and a bunch of albums stolen. He owned a small record store at the time. Realizing the house had been broken into, he called the police who came by to investigate and dust for prints. It was only when one of the officers talked to me that I revealed the details about being scared in the bath earlier that day. Mom was horrified. We found some albums scattered in the wood lot beside the house the following day. I distinctly recall Dreamboat Annie by Heart in the Creek. LOL, I'd have tossed that album too. The perp was eventually arrested and charged for multiple break-ins in the area. Juvenile offender, ordered community service and probation. When I was about 7, I was left home alone while my mom went on an errand. It was a different time then. She told me to not answer the phone or the door. About an hour goes by and the phone rings. Then it stops, then it rings, then again about 4 times. I was determined not to answer it. Then the doorbell rings. Then knocking, then ringing, and knocking. I was panicking. So I crawl on the floor to stealthily look out the side windows to see who it is. It's my neighbor. I opened the door and he said I needed to come with him to play at his house. I was like, but I have to stay here. He told me my mom said I needed to go with him. So I went and watched TV at his house for a few hours until my dad came and got me. Turns out my mom got into a terrible car wreck when she was out. She got 40 staples in the back of her head and messed up her knee. In the mid-90s I was home alone, laying on the couch with one leg propped up on the top. Watching TV. All of a sudden I could feel my thigh shaking vigorously. Then the windows were rattling very loud. I freaked out thinking something from the nearby military base was crashing or something. I went outside, I could see leaves falling, I could still feel my body shaking and was still panicking, and then it just stopped. It was an earthquake. 4.7, but still super creepy. I had a dog that suddenly jumped awake at night and went absolutely ape. He ran to the rear of the house, barking, growling, hair standing on end. We're talking full-on fight to the death mode here. I tried walking back to see what the problem was, but he wouldn't let me past him, kept blocking my way. I did hear a couple strange sounds like maybe the house was settling, but nothing out of the ordinary. He was acting like whatever he was seeing or hearing was inside the house, not outside. He wasn't looking out a window, he was blocking the hallway to the laundry room and backing up like something was slowly advancing on him. After a while he calmed down, the supposed threat went away. It was probably about 10 minutes of pretty intense growling and barking though. Even after he calmed down, he still wouldn't let me go down that hall until daylight. When I finally did, I couldn't see anything unusual. I still have no idea what set him off, but whatever it was, he was not okay with it. He was honestly acting like he was going to die, but was damn sure taking whatever it was with him. My chihuahua sleeps right outside my bedroom door, and I usually leave the door open because he likes to look inside to see I'm still in there since he is a needy little. I don't let my dogs inside my room, and they know about this boundary and never cross it without permission. One night, I was gaming a bit before bed and he suddenly went ape and walked backwards inside the room while barking at something in the hall, which was unlit. I was wearing headphones, so I first only saw from the corner of my eye his little butt wiggling in, so I turned to scold him when I noticed his posture and how he was barking his little head off. I peeked to see what he was barking at. My other 2 dogs don't usually come inside at night, but I thought it might be them, but saw nothing and he seemed scared of me walking into the hall. He obviously couldn't stop me, but he kept positioning himself in front of me and nudging me back. I noped back into my room, pulled his bed inside and locked the door. He stayed up for what I assume was the rest of the night, looking at the door, because he was more or less in the same position after I woke up. He sniffed around a bit in the hall when we went out and went his merry way. I still have no idea what set him off like that, but I've had weird happening on that hall before and after this incident.